Chosen one, you cried today. Not the kind of crying you can stop. Not the kind you can hide. Not the kind that comes quietly and disappears before anyone notices. The uncontrollable kind. The kind that comes from somewhere so deep that your whole body feels it. The kind that has been building for months, maybe years, held in through all the moments. You had to be strong, had to be composed, had to pretend it did not hurt, had to smile through pain that would have broken most people. But today, it came out. All of it. And there was nothing you could do to stop it. And maybe you are embarrassed by it. Maybe you feel exposed. Maybe you feel weak. But God wants you to know something. Those tears were not weakness. Those tears were a breakthrough. What was behind those tears? It was not just today that made you cry. It was everything. Every moment you stayed silent when you should have been heard. Every time you were misunderstood by the very people who were supposed to know you best. Every family gathering where you sat at the table but felt completely alone. Every time you gave everything you had, and it was never enough for them. Every time you were judged, labeled, reduced to a version of yourself that had nothing to do with who you actually are. Every lie that was believed about you. Every rumor that spread without correction. Every assumption that was made without anyone bothering to ask you the truth. All of it compressed into this one moment, released through tears that could no longer be contained. And God saw every single one of those tears. He caught them all, and He counted them, because not one of them fell in vain. What happened with this family member? Something shifted in them, quietly, without announcement. Maybe it was a conversation that went deeper than usual. Maybe it was something they saw, something they witnessed, something they could no longer ignore. Maybe God moved on their heart in a way that only He can. But something happened. And for the first time, they saw you. Not the version others painted. Not the version that was whispered about. Not the version that was judged from a distance. The real you. The true you. The you that God sees every single day. And it changed something in them. Maybe they said it out loud. Maybe they came to you with words you never expected to hear from that person. Maybe they apologized. Maybe they defended you. Maybe they simply looked at you differently, in a way that told you they finally understand. And that moment, that single moment of being truly seen by someone who had been blind to you for so long,
broke something open inside you. Something that had been locked for a very long time. And the tears came. Uncontrollable. Unstoppable. Because being seen after years of being invisible hits differently than anything else in this world. Why this moment matters more than you know. It was not just a family moment. It was a spiritual moment. God was in that room. God orchestrated that conversation. God moved on that person's heart. Not randomly. Not accidentally. Because He knew you needed it. He knew how long you had been carrying the weight of being misunderstood by your own family. He knew what it cost you every single day to walk into spaces where your own blood did not fully know who you were, did not fully believe in who you were, did not fully stand behind who you were. And He said, "Enough. It is time for truth to surface. It is time for eyes to open. It is time for at least one person in that family to see my child clearly." And He chose this person in this moment for this specific reason: to begin the unraveling of every lie, every misunderstanding, every false version of you that had taken root in your family. This was the first domino. And God is not finished. What those tears released, every tear you cried in that moment, released something. The bitterness you had been holding, not all of it, but some of it. The walls you had built around your heart, not all of them, but some of them. The exhaustion of carrying a version of yourself that no one in your family seemed to fully understand. Some of that weight left through those tears. And in the space that the weight left behind, something new entered. Hope. The quiet but powerful hope that maybe things can be different. That maybe the truth about you can spread the way the lies did. That maybe one person seeing clearly is the beginning of many people seeing clearly. That maybe your family is not a lost cause. That maybe restoration is possible. Not overnight. Not without more tears. Not without more hard conversations. But possible. And possible is everything. When you've been living in what felt like impossible. What God wants to say to you about your family. He has not forgotten what they did. The words that were said. The judgments that were made. The moments where you needed support and got silence instead. The moments where you needed defense and got abandonment instead. He saw it all, and He never once agreed with it. He never looked at you the way they sometimes did. He never believed the version of you they created. He always saw the truth. And he has been working, slowly, patiently, the way only God can work, on hearts that seemed too hard to move, on eyes that seemed too blind to see, on minds that seemed too set in their judgments to ever be changed. But God is not intimidated by hardness. He is not discouraged by blindness. He is not stopped by stubbornness. He just keeps working, keeps moving truth into places where lies had been living for too long.
What this moment revealed about your journey. For a long time, you thought you were alone in it, that no one in your family would ever see what God sees, that the truth about you would forever be buried under the weight of assumptions, under the noise of other people's narratives, under the version of you that someone created and everyone else believed without question. You had accepted it, not fully, but enough to stop expecting things to change, enough to stop praying specifically for this, enough to build walls so thick that even the possibility of being understood by your family felt like a dream too dangerous to keep dreaming. But God never accepted it. He never stopped working toward this moment. He never gave up the idea that the people who share your blood would one day share the truth about who you are, and today proved it. That God was working even when you stopped believing He was, that He was moving even when you could not see movement, that He was fighting for your name in rooms you were never invited into, in conversations you were never part of, in hearts that seemed permanently closed. He was there the whole time. And today was His way of saying, I never left. I never stopped. I never forgot what they said about you, and I never once agreed with it. What the enemy thought would happen. He thought the family wounds would finish you. He knows something about chosen ones. He knows that strangers can wound you, but family can break you, because the wound from family goes to the root. It shakes the foundation. It makes you question things that should never have been questioned. Your worth, your identity, your belonging, your right to take up space in this world. He used your family intentionally, knowing that the voices of people who raised you, who shared meals with you, who were supposed to love you unconditionally, would carry more weight than any stranger ever could. He planted seeds of doubt through them, seeds of shame, seeds of unworthiness, hoping those seeds would grow into something that would permanently disqualify you from your calling, that would keep you so focused on being accepted by your family that you would never step fully into what God had for you. But here is what the enemy forgot. God uses the very thing the enemy weaponizes. He takes the family wound and turns it into a family testimony. He takes the people the enemy used to break you and turns them into the people who speak life over you. What happened today was God turning the weapon around, using the very relationship the enemy corrupted to bring healing, to bring truth, to begin the restoration that the enemy spent years trying to prevent.